talk about writing the equation of a line. And it's always nice when we can just kind of elaborate on something that we've learned previously. So look, I've given you the slope formula. Wrote it slightly different, right? But it's still change in y over change in x. And it says to solve for y minus y sub 1. Notice that it's hugged out. So let's hug it out, right? We're solving for y minus y sub 1. Be very, very, very clear. This is the guy we're solving for. So I need to get rid of or move mathematically that x minus x sub 1. I need to move that difference. It's right now being divided. So to undo division, I'm going to multiply. So I'll multiply by that difference of x and x sub 1. Now I'll go ahead and use commutative property and put m in front. So m parentheses x minus x sub 1 equals y minus y sub 1. There we go. We solved for y minus y sub 1. Well, let's use symmetric property and get that y minus y sub 1 in front. All right, what we've just discovered is the point slope formula. Why? Because all we need is slope, m, and 1 point. So go ahead and write that up here. Y minus y sub 1 equals slope times the difference of x and x sub 1. So when we want to write an equation of a line, if we know 1 point and the slope, we can write an equation of a line. Let's give one a try. For our practice problem, we're going to say we have the point 3, negative 2, and slope is 1/3. Let's label that. So our x sub 1 is 3, the y sub 1 is negative 2, and slope is 1/3. All I have to do now is substitute those values into the formula. So you can see I wrote down the formula, then I substituted the values, and now let's go ahead and clean it up just a teeny bit. So y minus negative 2 would be y plus 2 equals, and I can leave that there unless I have a really good reason to distribute it, and later on we'll learn sometimes we want to, but for now I'll just keep it 1/3 x minus 3. You might say, wait, that's an equation of a line? Well, yeah, because I have enough information to graph a line. So if I took just a moment, let's go ahead and make a quick coordinate plane. Doesn't need to be super neat. Let's pretend we didn't have the point designated and the slope already, and let's just look at the equation and pull it out of that. So if I look here at this equation, we know that that's my y sub 1, but is y sub 1 positive 2? No, because the formula is y minus. So what did I have to subtract to get a plus? I had to subtract a negative. So then I know that my point is going to have this come down and be a negative 2 opposite. The x value comes from here, x minus x sub 1, and it's x minus, so that is a positive 3, so 3. And then of course my slope is always right here. So long as I have slope and a point, I can graph any line. Let's go ahead and do that really quick. There's my point, 3, negative 2, and then what do you do with that 1/3? Well, you have a vertical change of 1 over a horizontal change of 3. So we rise 1 and run 3. They're both positive. So I go up 1 and then over 1, 2, 3. Up 1 over 3, and there's our line. Equation of a line in point slope form. Very effective, very quick, very easy, very little room for mistake. We love point slope formula. Let's practice. So for this first one, we have the point 2, 5 and a slope of 3. So let's plot the point and then use the slope to graph the line. So 2, 5 is right here. And then if I'm gonna use the slope to graph the line, I need to know, okay, well, the vertical change would be 3 over the horizontal change would be 1. So I'm gonna rise up 1, 2, 3 because it's positive and run over 1. Okay, I'm totally out of room here, so I'm gonna plot a third point just to be safe, but I'm gonna go the backwards direction. So down 1, 2, 3, and over the other way 1. Okay, so I've used my straight edge to graph the line, so let's go ahead and write the equation of a line in point slope form. So here, I'm just gonna write point slope form below real quick. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The way we're gonna remember that is by writing it and thinking it over and over again. Okay, so y minus, guess y sub 1 is 5 equals, my slope is 3 times x minus x sub 1 is 2. So I have my equation of a line and I have my graph. So why don't you take a moment and try the next two. When you get to C, be careful. You kind of might have to use Miss Peart's strategy here where you identify the point and the slope before you go to graph it. On B, the equation of the line is y minus 5 equals negative 4 times x plus 1. Did you get x plus 1? Really be careful there because it's minus a negative 1, so plus 1. And then my negative sloped line is drawn on my graph. On C, I want to make sure you're identifying that point correctly. So I went ahead and wrote my point slope form below my equation. I can see that, okay, my y sub 1 should be 2 because those negative signs match up, so I can just say 2. And then my x sub 1, well, it's minus x sub 1, and I have plus 4. So my x sub 1 has to be negative 4. And then my slope's just sitting right out here, negative 2/3. So then I'm going to go graph that real quick, and you can officially check yours. And there's my graph. Let's move on to write some more equations of lines. Okay, our directions are still to write an equation of a line, but this time I have 2 points. Oh, are you trying to trick me? Not gonna happen. So I'll go ahead and find slope. So I labeled my points x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, and then I did the vertical change over the horizontal change, and I got 7/5. Now I need to write the equation of the line. Well, I need a point and slope. I have 2 points and slope. Well, that's fine. I just have extra info. Let's just use one of the points. Now this one's already labeled x sub 1, y sub 1, so I'll probably use it, but I want you to know that honestly, I can use either one and it describes the exact same line. So this looks a little interesting. Y minus 0, I can just write y. 7/5 parentheses x minus a negative 5. Let's go ahead and clean that up, x plus 5. Obviously, once again, I could do more work, but if I'm not asked to, why would I? So stop there. Go ahead and try that next one. Let's see how you do. Okay, check your work. And you'll notice that I went ahead and did it both ways. So I wrote it with each point. Once again, just trust me, these mean the exact same line, and we'll prove it later. Moving on, let's simplify a and b from above. So we already had those written out. So we had y minus 5 equals 3 parentheses x minus 2. So we're just going to practice some of our simplifying equations. So y minus 5, I'll go ahead and distribute the 3. And last but not least, I'll add the 5. You might be thinking, huh? Okay, what about b? I'm going to write it down, but I want you to pause, do it yourself, and then check with me. Boom, there we go. You've learned a lot here. Take a moment, think back through, look at your notes, and make sure that you are really looking at this to learn.